सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Yogas. We move on to chapter 13. Chapter 13 called Renunciation. Chapter 13 called Renunciation. One of the interesting topic that analyzes about what renunciation is all about and how renunciation is the essence of Vedanta. A very, very interesting, essential topic. Chapter 13 called Renunciation. What is renunciation? The first topic in the chapter, renunciation, is what is renunciation? Prasad, you have a good connection. Read, no? Yes. Somebody read. Venkat, can you read?
I am just unmuting myself.
Prasad, read. Yes. Yes.
Chapter, here in my book, it is chapter 8. Is it correct? No? It's chapter 8 only, no?
Yes, yes. Chapter 13, Renunciation.
Okay. Renunciation. What is renunciation? Renunciation is the quintessence of spirituality, the sap of religion. The spirit of renunciation, instituted by Vedanta, paves the way to enlightenment. Yet, the subject of renunciation is seldom spoken of in religious institutions. A topic which hardly finds a place in spiritual discussions. And the concept of renunciation is totally misconstrued. The idea of renunciation is repulsed by the modern society. The thought of it is dismissed by people as something repugnant. The beauty and grandeur of renunciation has been transformed into an ugly caricature. The general misconception is that it means resignation and retirement from life. To go barefoot and bareheaded, live in the seclusion of forests. This is far from truth. Had it been so, then renunciation would be of and only cater to a few social recluses who shun away from any form of pleasure and material discomfort. Ironic as it may seem, renunciation is meant for one and all. It has to be practiced in business and home, in everyday life, in the din and roar of the marketplace. It is the solace of life. It will be the solace of death. In its true form, renunciation provides the greatest consolation to those who suffer from worldly attachment and desire. And when intensified, it draws out the divinity in a human being, animates him to bring about a reintegration a reunion with the Supreme Being. Renunciation is the fragrance of spirituality. Evolved persons releases while performing his obligatory duties and responsibilities. The sublime trait of renunciation ought not to be reduced to weak resignation. Those equipped with great trait stood out as spiritual stalwarts in the world. Hence, a thorough understanding of the human quality is of prime importance in one's life and living. No progress is possible without renunciation. As you advance to the higher echelons of life, you drop the lower. It is a natural progression. Your childhood traits fall off as you reach your teens. So do your teenage fascinations drop with advancing maturity. The flower is sacrificed when the fruit emerges. Thus, renunciation is a mark of growth, a symbol of progress in life. Below is a careful and methodic analysis which provides a clear picture of renunciation.
Yeah, we'll come to that later. First is this. Renunciation is the quintessence of spirituality. Another word for Vedanta is renunciation. If at all you say that you are studying Vedanta, you are understanding Vedanta, you are a practitioner of Vedanta, it means the spirit of renunciation is evolving, developing more and more. If the spirit of renunciation is not there, it means there is no Vedanta at all. For the quintessence of spirituality is renunciation. It is not about God. It is not about peace. It is not about happiness. It is not about bliss. It is not about any of these. It is about renunciation. And nobody wants to talk about this word renunciation. Because renunciation பத்தி பேசினா இருக்கிற 10 பேரும் they will run away. Yeah. So why talk about renunciation? And people advocate evolution as possible without referring to renunciation. People advocate growth is possible without renunciation, and everybody buys it also because it's an easy bargain. No, it's easy. You get the highest for no price at all. No, what a deal it is. So the first thing, the quintessence of Vedanta is renunciation. The idea is repulsed by the modern society. The idea is repulsed by the modern society. The vast majority of the society is repulsive to this idea of renunciation. The minority misunderstands the concept of renunciation itself. So either way, nobody understands renunciation. That's what he's saying first. The first point that you have to understand is the vast majority of human beings is repulsed by the idea of renunciation, and the minority misunderstands renunciation. The Sanskrit words for renunciation is vairagya, sannyasa. These are the technical terms, Sanskrit technical terms for this concept of renunciation. The society is very repulsive to the idea of renunciation because they believe renunciation means somebody will enjoy your possessions and you have to suffer. Yeah. Somebody will be enjoying your wealth and your possessions while you are sitting and suffering, which looks very absurd. Therefore, this sannyasa is a very wrong thing. This is why people are repulsive against the very idea of sannyas. Few sannyasis are enough to change the world. Few sannyasis is enough. That's all. You don't need them in hundreds and thousands. The world can't survive. Just a few. No, you can count them by fingers. A few of them is enough to help the world. What he's saying in this analysis is he's removing both the misconceptions about sannyasa. What are all making people believe what sannyasa is, as a result of which they are having repulsiveness towards sannyasa, is removed. Second thing is, what is the misunderstanding behind sannyasa is also removed. The third thing is, without sannyasa, there cannot be spiritual evolution without sannyasa. For the uparati, the dharana, the dhyana is all nothing but renunciations intensified. Sannyasa getting intensified is what uparati, dharana, dhyana is all about. Are you able to follow? The three paths, karma, bhakti, jnana, yoga, leads to uparati, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. Now, what is this uparati, dharana, dhyana, samadhi? This uparati, dharana, dhyana is nothing but intensified sannyasa getting more and more refined. Sannyasa getting more and more intensified, refined, bettered. So, there is a lot of misunderstanding about sannyasa. First misunderstanding about sannyasa is the robe. The first misunderstanding about sannyasa is the color of the color. Yeah. Second is a sannyasi can do anything. Only one thing he should not do is what? Only one thing a sannyasi must not do, but he can do everything else. What? What is the notion of sannyasi? That is why when you want to talk bad about a sannyasi, what is the first thing that people talk about? Sannyasi means he can do anything but not get married. He should not marry. That's all. Marry means he should not have relationship with. He can do anything, but he should not have his own family. Yeah. He can have properties. He can have wealth. He can have ashramas, 165 countries, 165 ashramas he can have. But only one thing he should not have is what? ஒரு வைஃப்னு இருக்கக்கூடாது, பசங்கன்னு இருக்கக்கூடாது. இல்லன்னா he's a sannyasi. Yeah. He says first misconception is that has got nothing to do with sannyas. The first thing. The second thing is, that's what he descriptively saying it as: barefooted, bareheaded, living in seclusion of the forest. Yeah. And all this doesn't apply because you don't see any sannyasi going barefooted. You don't see any sannyasi. Yeah. Bareheaded. நாங்கதான் bareheaded இருக்கும். Yeah. No sannyasi is barefooted. No sannyasi is bareheaded. No sannyasi is living in the seclusion of the forest. For the sannyasis' houses are centrally air-conditioned house, isn't it? Room air conditioning kuda kediyadu. Central air conditioned house. I'm not saying it has got no, people misunderstand that to be sannyas. So one set has a misunderstanding about sannyas, another set wrongly practices sannyas. As a result of which, what has happened? The misunderstanding and the wrong practices has made people bereft of spiritual evolution. Therefore, you find so much of talk about spirituality is going on, so much of discussion about spirituality is going on, but very few evolved, you find very few evolved religious person. Why? Because there is no renunciation at all. What is renunciation? Renunciation in its true form is the greatest consolation to those who suffer from worldly attachment and desire. Consolation here means not that consolation. What the word consolation here in the context means, the remedy for those who are suffering from attachment and desire. Consolation means the remedy here. You should understand it as remedy. The remedy in its true form, renunciation provides the remedy to those who suffer from worldly attachment and desire. And when it is intensified, it draws out the divinity in a human being. So sannyasa draws out the divinity. Two things it does. One is it gives you freedom from worldly attachment and desire. Freedom from that worldly attachment and desire. Renunciation is the fragrance that a spiritually evolved person releases while performing his obligatory duties and responsibilities. Renunciation is the sublime fragrance. Renunciation is the fragrance that a spiritual person releases while doing his duties and responsibilities. First is karma kuru, do your duty. And then niyatam karma, first is do action. First step, do action. Second step is do obligatory actions. Third step is do obligatory action with detachment. Sir, detachment vandirthinale obligation poiduthe. Obligation is only because of attachment. So where a person is detached, where is the question of obligation after detachment? For obligation itself arises only out of attachment. Yeah. That is our problem. That's where we have a problem in understanding this sublime trait of renunciation. Not a weak resignation. And those are the spiritual stalwarts. Who are the spiritual stalwarts? Who stood up, who stood out because of them having the trait of renunciation. So, what is the wrong understanding? What is the wrong practice? And what is renunciation truly? It is the solution to the problems of life, and it is the solutions to the problem of death. It is the solace of life, and it will be the solace of death. How it can be the solace of life? It's the remedy to attachments, and it is the remedy to gain freedom from desires. Solace of death means a human being is afraid of death or do not want to die because of what? Unfinished tasks. This person here no unfinished tasks. Therefore, solace of life and solace of death. What is the fragrance of renunciation? While performing obligatory duties and responsibilities, a human being, fragrance means cheerfulness is the fragrance of human being. Being cheerful. A person of renunciation can be cheerful. Rest are all carrying a burden. How can they be cheerful when you are carrying a burden? You cannot be cheerful when you are carrying a burden. Renunciation means you are cheerful. Cheerful because there is no burden. Ramatirtha gives this example of a person carrying his trunk inside the railway compartment on his head. He saw a person carrying the trunk inside the railway compartment on his head. He said, why don't you put the trunk box down and come freely? The man said, no. As it is, the train is carrying my weight. I don't want to burden the train. He said, whether you like it or not, whether you understand it or not, the train is already carrying you and your trunk. Where is the but the person cannot let go of it. Remember the story I always give, the Panchadashi story. Sorry, not Panchadashi. Yeah. That animal stories. The fly sitting on the elephant's back the whole day. The fly sitting on the elephant's back the whole day. Panchatantra, correct. Panchatantra. I'm a very evolved person. No story books I will remember. Panchadashi, Viveka Chudamani, Upanishad only I will remember. Panchatantra, Panchatantra, correct. Beautiful set of stories it is. Beautiful set of philosophical stories. All short stories, that's all. Beautiful story. One story that I really love to repeat any number of times is that the fly spoke to the elephant in the evening. The fly spoke to the elephant in the evening and told the elephant, if you are tired carrying me, tell me, I will fly away. If you are tired carrying me, tell me, I will fly away. The elephant turned back and said, now that you spoke, I recognized you are sitting on me. Otherwise, I didn't even know that you are sitting on me. That is the fragrance. That is the fragrance of renunciation. The cheer. where you don't, the greatest of tasks doesn't sit on you as a burden. That is renunciation. The greatest of tasks, the biggest tasks, the toughest tasks sit on you lightly. That is the sublime fragrance of renunciation a spiritually evolved person releases while performing his obligations and duties. Example, Krishna, Lord Krishna. Never was there a dull moment in his life, no? You will never see him dull. You will never, that's why even in the movies also, even in an awkward scene and all, he will keep smiling, no? The climax where everybody is dying, he will still be smiling. Because the man didn't know. If you want to know what renunciation is, you should read Vedantic vision of renunciation is Krishna. Vedantic vision of renunciation is Janaka. We have lost those visions. We have lost it. Lost it means we are trying to revive it. We are trying to bring in the right. We means he is doing it. Swamiji is doing it. We are not. I understand. So what is the true vision of Vedanta? The tasks sits on you lightly. The proof that it sits on you lightly is you are cheerful. The last thing, and I conclude for today. You know that you have grown in life when you can laugh at your mistakes. When you are very serious about it, worried, concerned, looking for prayaschitta and all that, it means you have not yet grown. Example, when you are a child, you would have stolen some mangoes from the neighbor's tree, no? Some mango you would have stolen. You would have planned, you would have programmed, you would have stolen the mango. Will you do prayaschitta for that now? I stole mango 45 years back. Whether it is young or old, stealing is wrong. And how much that person, I don't know what that person would have planned for that mango. He would have planned some pickle for that mango. I denied him that pickle. Now as a prayaschitta, I will send 1,000 bottles of pickles along with the interest. Would say to you, will you do all that? You laugh at it. You laugh at it and you dismiss it. This is renunciation. Growth means the ability to laugh it off. Not others. We all laugh at others anyway. அது இன்னொருத்தருக்கு அடி வாங்குறாருன்னா more laughter. And when somebody is getting beaten up, we get more laughter. And when somebody is tripping and falling, we get, somebody falls down. அப்பயே சொன்னா சார் ஜாக்கிரதையா இருக்கணும்னு. There is a, what is fragrance of renunciation? The fragrance of renunciation is cheerfulness. And what is cheerfulness? Cheerfulness is when you laugh at your own, when you can laugh at your own actions. That is growth. Just as how you would laugh at your childhood, stuff now. Example, stealing mangoes from the neighbors. Supposing if there is no tree in the neighbor, you go to the, invariably will be visiting some uncle or aunt somewhere in the village, there will be some mango. Yeah, you'll go there, try and steal, and that fellow will chase you. Yeah. Cheerfulness is the greatest task sits on you lightly. That is renunciation. Second, you are cheerful. Cheerfulness is the indication of spiritual evolution, renunciation. Example, Lord Krishna. With this, we conclude we conclude the session for today. Next week, we continue with the analysis of. Next week, we continue from the analysis of what renunciation, and let us explore the subject further. We conclude for today.